how to min-max game development time and finish your project 2 times faster with these 3 productivity tips. How's it going? My name is Darius. And if you're a small game studio with a small team and you're missing your deadlines and you're going over budget, then here are 3 tips to help you min-max your development time. So the best reason to learn how to min-max your time is because when you can finish your game, 2 or 3 times faster, then you can keep that money you would have spent on that extra wasted time, right? So instead, spend that money on developing another game or, put that money back into marketing your game so you sell more copies. But on the flip side, if you don't learn how to min-max your time, you'll go over budget and you'll run out of funds, or you'll, be tempted to hire more people. But hiring more people means even more time and more money to manage those people. So if you're a small game dev company and time is your only resource and you don't have a lot of money to spend on other stuff like, more people, and you have to learn how to, optimize your time, then learn these 3 tips. So here's how it goes. And I call it the min-maxer technique. And I always thought that, the busier you got, the more people you needed, right? And when I had my first startup company and an online business, I was, getting crazy busy. So, what I did? I hired people, but I soon learned that I was spending more time managing people. Plus I was doing my own work on top of that anyway. So more people didn't really help me with time, right? And basically I was doing 2 times the work, but now with less efficiency. So something had to change, and I didn't, want to work 16-hour days, always in crunch mode. So instead of putting more money into the problem, I learned how to be more productive with my time. And after, 17 years of doing this, I came up with a technique, like I said, called the min-maxer. And I learned how to min-max my time from 2 guys who are way smarter than me. So the first guy is named Edward Deming. He was a statistician and engineer, and he used stats to improve, efficiency. So like top Japanese industrialists like Akio Morita, co-founder of Sony, all use Deming's philosophies to improve productivity. So basically Deming explained that you lose efficiency when you go from one job to another. By grouping tasks into batches and focusing all your work on finishing that batch before going on to the next batch, you'll dramatically, improve your speeds and your efficiency. And I'll show you exactly how to use Deming's ideas to help you, finish your game projects 2 times faster. But there's another guy I learned a lot from too, and his name is Francisco Cirillo, I think. And he's the guy who developed the Pomodoro technique, or the tomato time. You've probably already heard about this, right? And this is where, you basically set a timer to do your work on one task until that timer stops, and then you take a short break, and then you go back to the tasks. So these 2 ideas from Deming and Cirillo helped me with my time management and helped me min-max my time. And I've been personally using these 2 techniques over 17 years. And like I said, I grouped these 2 ideas and I called it the min-maxer technique. So let me show you exactly how to use the 2 ideas to help you min-max your own time. And so you can finish, game development 2 times faster, or finish projects 2 times faster. All right, here's how to min-max your time, finish your game, projects 2 times faster, and this 3-step action plan. Okay, let's sum up everything we've learned so far. You can either hire more people and, let them do some of their work for you so you can have more time. But then actually what happens is that you're managing those people too. And it feels like now you have 2 jobs, right? So you can't throw money into the problem. And it's better to learn how to min-max your own time, before you do hire, developers or artists or designers, right? So don't get me wrong, you do need people, but first you got to learn how to manage your own time before you can use people to help you, improve your time. So what else we learned was that Edward Deming said that going from one task to another task, kills productivity. So in other words, jumping from one task or, small project to another task or project will hurt your productivity, because doing that, jumping back and forth is inefficient. So what happens is what should take 1 hour now takes maybe 2 or 4 because of these little inefficiencies that you hardly notice, right? So it's more efficient to lump, work into batches and focus your work on those batches before moving on to the next batch. And then we also learned that tomato time is where you use, a timer to help you keep focus on completing that task. So once the timer goes off, you take a short break, and then you set the timer again, and then you go back into that task again. Okay, now that you know what the technique is, here's how to use it. So here's your first step. And so step number 1 is you separate your work into small batch projects. So exactly how to do that is basically you open a Google spreadsheet and list all the activities you got to do to get your game done, right? And then break each major activity into smaller batches. So here's a simple example, and you can pause the video, to get some more details out of it. But this, like I said, this is just an example, and your workflow might look differently. But my point is, it's important to break down all your tasks like this because of what Deming said, right? when you hop from one task to another, that extra step is where you lose all your efficiencies, right? So what takes 1 hour to get done now takes 2 hours because of these little inefficiencies. So it's better to group your jobs into batches and then focus on each batch before moving on to the next batch. So what do I mean by, focus on each batch? So let me show you that in step number 2, which is set your clock for 50 minutes and focus on one task. So in step 1, I had you, group your main game dev activities into smaller batches and, not jump from one task to another. And basically multitasking is not productive, right? You might feel like you're busy when you're multitasking, but then at the end of the day, you say, I worked 16 hours, but what did I get done, right? So multitasking makes you feel like you're busy, but jumping from one task to another is inefficient. A better strategy is to lump your tasks into smaller groups and then focus on each group and then get that done and then move on to another task, right? And this is where the tomato time kind of comes in. Say you're working on AI, for example, right? You set the clock for 50 minutes, you go to work, and when the timing goes off, you take a 10-minute break, then set another 15-minute chunk and keep working on that AI problem, right? And what you'll find that in 2 hours, you'll have more done than if you spent 8 hours without this kind of focus. So setting up a timer like this forces your brain to focus on one task, and you'll be surprised how much you get done when you control time like this. And this is the heart of min-maxing your time by grouping your jobs and timing yourself and putting all your focus and energy into one task. And and not multitasking is how you finish game projects 2 or 3 times faster. But we're not done yet, right? So here's step 3, and that is work on the most important projects when you have the most energy. And this is more about energy management than time management. So let me show you what I mean. When do you have the most energy in the day, right? It could be in the morning, it could be at lunchtime or in the evening, right? You probably know exactly when's the best time for you, right? Well, that's when you should be working on your most important task and your most important problem that you have in that day or that week. So remember in step 1 how you grouped all your jobs into batches. Well, which one is the most important right now? Work on that task when you have the most energy in the day. So find that time, could be again like in the morning, afternoon, or in the evening. Then set your time for 50 minutes with a 10-minute break, and then do this cycle 2 or 3 times. And then in 2 or 3 hours, you'll see that you've done more work than you normally do in 6 or 8 hours, right? So try to manage your energy and not your time. This is why most time management, programs suck and they're out of date. Sure, you might be organized and you can do a lot of work, but what you work on is more important than how long you work on it, right? So focus on what you work on and not how long, right? So the whole idea here is to optimize your brain energy and use it to solve your biggest problems you have in that day or in that week when you have the most energy, right? So this is how you can get, 2 hours of work done that would normally take you, 4 or 5 hours by, leveraging your energy levels and focusing on a task at, 50 minutes at a time. You'll see that you'll get more done in half the time, right? All right, I want to talk about the major takeaways in this technique, right? So it's important to min-max your time because time is money, right? Then the faster you can finish your game or a project without any loss in quality, the more money you'll make from, your improved productivity. So how exactly? Well, because that time when you go over budget or when you run out of funding or when you go over your deadlines, that time could have been spent, promoting your game or making a new game, right? So by min-maxing your time, you're squeezing out as much productivity out of yourself as you can. And without working, 16-hour days or spending money on hiring, a bigger staff, to alleviate some of your time constraints. All right. So here's your action plan right now. So do this right now so you remember everything you learned. So open a Google Doc and quickly write down, the 3 or 4 major activities in your game development right now, right? And break them down into, 3 or 4 more little batches. So what I want you to do right now is to look at the batch or the activity that's giving you the biggest problem or the biggest challenge that is holding you back right now. So next, find a time in your day that you have the most energy and then commit to, trying to solve that problem when you do have the most energy, and then spend 50 minutes on that task. And the whole idea here is to find your biggest problem and find the best time of the day where you have the most energy and then spend 50 minutes, tackling that problem. And you'll see that you can get, you probably can tackle that problem in 50 minutes because you are leveraging your brain energy and you are able to, put 100% focus in that 15 minutes. Anyway, if you want more advanced help with, game dev productivity or how to start a game company, then in the description below, I have a free workshop. Click that and I'll help you out. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Again, my name is Darius and good luck with your game dev journey. I hope my productivity tips can help you, finish your game project 2 or 3 times faster. All right. Take care. See ya.